So this is a beautiful verse. Maya mugda jivera nahi swata Krishna jnana jivera kripaye kaila Krishna veda purana. Okay, the conditioned living entity on its own cannot come out of this material existence. And for that reason, Krishna mercifully has come and given Veda Purana. So, the conditioned soul cannot revive his Krishna consciousness by his own effort. Out of causeless mercy, the Lord has compiled Vedic literatures and its supplements, the Puranas. So you see, this is a great act of compassion from the Lord for the Jivas to help the Jivas to come out of this material existence. And it all starts with the knowledge, the scriptures which the Lord has given. Even in the Lord Kapila section, we find that how Maitreya Rishi is glorifying Shaunaka. So this is a Saunak Rishi saying. कपिलस्तत्त्वसङ्ख्याता भगवान् आत्ममायया जातः स्वयं अज साक्षात् आत्मप्रज्ञाप्तये निनाम. So here also it is mentioned that how the Lord Kapila, who is Bhagavan, and how is he coming, how is he appearing? Atma Maya. He is not forced to come here as per law of karma. He is coming out of his sweet will. And Jatah Swam Aja Sakshat. He is unborn. But still he comes. And why does he come? Atma Pragyaptaye. To give the transcendental knowledge. What is that transcendental knowledge? Tattva Sankhyaataha, Sankhya philosophy. For whom he wants to give this knowledge? Nirnam, the human beings. Like that. So we see that how it is a great act of compassion from the Lord to give jivas the scriptures so that the jiva can get this transcendental knowledge and can free himself from this material entanglement. So this particular verse which we were studying, so Srila Prabhupada also gives a very nice purport to this. So he says that how conditioned soul is bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord. And what is the Maya's business? Maya's business is to keep the conditioned soul forgetful of his real relationship with Krishna. And what Krishna gives, he gives the scriptures so that we can revive our relationship with the Lord, so that we can understand our relationship with the Lord. So thus the living entity forgets the real identity. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, due to the external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to three modes of nature, thinks himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. So because of forgetfulness, because of the influence of the three modes of material nature, although living entity is transcendental, but then still the living entity thinks himself as a material product. And the living entity undergoes the reactions of material miseries. He gets affected by the man and apaman of this world. He gets affected by sukha and dukha of this world. He gets affected by so-called material happiness available in this world. He forgets that how soon he will die, old age will come. He forgets the real purpose of his life. So that is the descriptions of Maya's action upon the conditioned soul. The living entity becomes a servant of lust, anger, greed, envy. So for this reason, the Lord, out of his mercy and compassion, has compiled Vedic literatures in his incarnation as Vyasdev. Vyasdev is a Sakya-Ves avatar of Lord Krishna. He has very kindly presented these literatures to awaken the conditioned soul to his senses. So we see actually in our spiritual journey also, when we hear this spiritual knowledge, then we are enlightened and awakened that, oh, I was not aware that this is how the material world functions. This is who am I and this is the purpose of the world. So for that reason, out of compassion, through Vyasdev, Lord compiled all these Vedic literatures. And then Prabhupada says, but unfortunately, people are busy in reading so many other literatures and they don't want to read these Vedic literatures, which are the immense treasure house of knowledge. So, like that, we see that how this particular aspect, that how Krishna comes to give this knowledge. In the scriptures also it is mentioned, even when somebody comes to the spiritual life. So initially his spiritual life begins by hearing about the Lord, by understanding about the Lord. So in the next verse it talks about शास्त्र गुरु आत्म रूपे आपनारे जानान कृष्ण मोर प्रभु त्रात जीविरहय ज्ञान. So he's saying the forgetful living entity is educated by the Lord through Vedic literatures. So if someone say that, oh, if God has created us, if we are part and parcel of God, so I want to know what God wants from me, then that we can know through the scriptures which God has given. So the Lord, He educates the Jiva through Vedic literatures, through realized spiritual master, and through super soul. So through the scriptures, through the spiritual master, and through the super soul, Chaitya Guru. You will find for a sincere sadhaka, these three play a very big role. If somebody is a genuine sadhaka wanting to pursue a spiritual life, many devotees they have this experience that they are going through certain situation in their life, but then when they are reading Srila Prabhupada's book, they come across same section which gives them a lot of inspiration and clarity. Or sometimes they get to hear from a devotee same thing what they are going through. Or sometime from inside Chaitya Guru gives them a very special inspiration, especially if we are offering sincere prayers to come out of some problem, or if we sincerely want to go ahead in our spiritual life, then we find that Chaitya Guru from inside gives a lot of inspiration that go ahead. So the combination of all three helps a jiva to be educated in the science of devotional service. Through these, the jiva can understand that the Lord as He is. He can understand that Krishna is his eternal master and deliverer from the clutches of Maya. In this way, one can acquire real knowledge of his conditioned life and can come to understand how to attain liberation. So, like that, by gaining this knowledge, he can get this transcendental understanding about Krishna, about himself, and also he can get understanding how to come out of this material world. So, for that reason, Krishna comes and gives this knowledge and teaches. So, what all is contained in this knowledge in the scriptures? Three things are there in the scriptures. Veda Shastra kahe sambandha bhedaya prayojana Krishna prape sambandha bhakti praptera sadhana. So, what the Shastras they talk about? They talk about sambandha abhedaya prayojan. It's very easy and clear. Such Shastra, first they will talk about our true relationship. We get affected by so many relationships of this world. But what is our true relationship? Our true relationship is with Krishna. So there is one. So this is from Lord Kapila section where he talks about our true relationship. ग्रहेषु कूटधर्मेषु दुःखतन्त्रेषु अतीन्द्रितः कुर्वन् दुःखप्रतीकारं सुखवन् मन्यते ग्रही. So he's saying the attached householder in his family life, which is full of diplomacy, politics, and constantly spreading miseries, restricted in his acts of sense gratification. He acts just to counter his miseries, and if he can successfully counter his misery, he thinks he is very happy. So, there in the purport, Prabhupada says that how a person identifies with so called family, society, or country in this world. And because of that identification, he becomes over concerned for them. He becomes over absorbed in their life or for their life. Like we see in our case also how much we get affected. My mother, my father, my brother, my sister, is it not? Their problems becomes our problems also. And it is a fact of life, no matter how much uh, good heart we have, but everyone has their own prarabdha and they have to go through that situation. We may have a lot of love for our sister, but she is supposed to go through some prarabdha and we can't help. She has to go through. Like that, every individual is actually a part and parcel of God. In this world, we are only caretakers. But because of material identification, because of identifying with things of this world, we get so affected and carried away by the temporary relationships in this world. And they are only for some time. In this life, we got a set of people who are our mother, father, brother, sister, and so and so. But then soon we leave this body, then we are given another set, is it not? So Srila Prabhupada says that everyone feels like that, that they have this family and relationships. And then Prabhupada says, here it will come. So Srila Prabhupada says, the family we maintain is created by Maya. It is a perverted reflection of family in the Krishna Loka. So actually in the Krishna Loka, we have family, we have friends, we have society, we have father and mother. Everything is there and they are eternal. However, here as we change bodies, our family relationships also change. Sometimes we are in a family of human beings, sometimes in a family of demigods, and so and so. Family, society, and friendship are flickering. So they are called asat. It is said as long as we are attached to this asat, temporary, non existing society and family, we are always full of anxieties. The materialists, they do not know that the family, society, friendship here in this material world are only shadows and thus they become attached. Naturally, their hearts are burning, but in spite of all inconvenience, they still work to maintain such false families because they have no information of the real family association with Krishna. So, this is the first aspect, that is the Sambandha Gyan, that we understand that who are we and what is our relationship with the Lord. And then Abhiday, okay, after understanding, then how do we approach that relationship? How do we connect to that Supreme Lord? Is it not? In any relationship, it happens. Sometimes, when the boy and girl they are engaged, so naturally now the boy wants to know that how to strike the relationship. So same way, after knowing that Krishna is my real master, he is my real well-wisher, how I can again revive my relationship with the Lord. See, sometimes in this world, how much we work hard to have relationship with people of this world, is it not? Sometimes you find a boy and girl, they are talking 5 hours on phone, and we don't know what they talk, but they talk so much in order to have. And sometimes they spend so much money, so much of their consciousness they spend. And then many times later on they find that the girl is having love with somebody else or the boy is having love with somebody else. And whereas here is the Lord who actually loves us, eternally loves us without any conditions, and is wanting our love and is waiting for our love. But unfortunately, because of ignorance, unfortunately, because of conditioned nature, we never turn to that Lord. So when we understand that actually He is our real well-wisher, He is our real master, He truly loves me, He is waiting for me, and the purpose of human life is to connect to Him. The only way to experience happiness is to connect to the Supreme Lord. Then we take Abhiday that much seriously. It is said, to the extent our Sambandha Gyan is weak, to that extent our Abhidheya also will be weak. Like it's very natural, right? When you understand, oh, he's my father and I lost him somehow, and now you understood that he is your same father. then you will work very hard to go to him, is it not? Same way, when Sambandha is very clear, then a devotee puts lot of his energy in Abhidheya that I want that Lord. This life, I want to have his lotus feet. And then, as he pursues Abhidheya, in the process itself, he start experiencing reciprocation from the Lord. That is the beauty of Bhakti Yoga process as main part of Abhidheya. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. In the journey itself, one can experience his relationship with the Lord, his connection with the Lord, his reciprocation from the Lord. And then is Priyojan, where he can experience the result of having relationship with the Lord. He can experience what it means to love the Lord. He can experience what it means to have that remembrance of the Supreme Lord. So that is Priyojan. So majorly this is what is given in the scriptures. And in Madhurya Kadambani we study that initially a person comes to spiritual life, so he may have a Laukik Shraddha. So Laukik Shraddha means a person may take up to spiritual life because he liked the person who was preaching, he liked his behavior, his dealings, and so and so. Or he may be very happy or impressed with the way he speaks, the speaker, or he may like prasadam, or he may like in general the whole atmosphere of being with devotees. So like that there could be many reasons why a person may take up to spiritual life. But in order to continue spiritual life against all odds, one has to elevate himself from Laukik Shraddha to Shastrik Shraddha. If he doesn't elevate himself from Laukik Shraddha to Shastrik Shraddha, then the difficulties which will come, they will take him away from spiritual life. Shastrik Shraddha means he understands, oh, this is life. There is no happiness materially. Krishna is my real master. I have to undergo my prarabdha, difficulties I have to tolerate. And real thing is how I take shelter of the Lord. So when there is a Shastrik Shraddha, then he is able to take everything in a right context and he is able to continue his spiritual life. So that is why for a devotee of the Lord, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that it is very important that he comes to Shastrik Shraddha. Otherwise it is very difficult. Same way about Utsa also it is mentioned that there is one verse which is from Madhurya Kadamani, second vritti. So we know this from NOI Utsa Nishya Dharyat, that how Utsa is so important to make progress in the spiritual life. But then why Utsa comes down? So that is mentioned in this verse by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So he says, uh, प्रक्रमयमानानि भक्ति अंगानि कदाचिन् निर्वहन्ति कदाचिच्च न वेति घनत्वं तरलत्वं चाशयः यथावतो शास्त्राभ्यासः कदाचित् सान्द्रः कदाचित् तद अर्थ प्रवेशामर्थया सारस्यानुदयेन स्थिलच्च. So he is saying, on the beginning, the execution of the limbs of bhakti, the sadhaka sometimes is able to carry them out and sometimes not. This is exactly like the condition of a young boy who is studying Shastra. His study is sometimes deep and intense, and whereas sometimes due to not understanding the subject matter or due to feeling lack of taste, the study is slackened. So one of the reasons Vishwanath Thakur gives that why one's utsaha reduces is because of not having proper understanding of the subject matter. Like that. Not properly understanding the scriptures, not properly understanding the process of devotion service. Like this. So many times we find that devotees they become slackened. Many times we find devotees they lose the focus. Many times we find that devotees they develop certain lower understandings of pure devotion service. This all happens why? Because they are not properly understanding the scriptures. See, initially we may be happy by hearing lectures from different devotees. But after some years action, we hear core things from the scriptures. We will get more satisfaction and more nourishment when we hear core thing from the scriptures. And you yourself will see when you hear from the scriptures, oh, this is like this, oh, this is like this, directly being spoken in the scriptures. Then it gives you clarity, it gives you confidence, and it gives you satisfaction like that. So, understanding the subject matter is very important. And this can happen when we don't approach scriptures mechanically. If you approach scriptures mechanically just for matter of reading, we are reading, then we may just cover the syllabus or we may just go through the scriptures, but we may not feel that satisfaction by reading the scriptures. We may not so much connect to the message what is mentioned in the scriptures. We may not be able to so much find relevance of what we are reading in our life. So to get satisfaction, to get connectivity to the sound mentioned in the scriptures, and to find relevance of the scriptures in our life, we need to give our heart to the process of reading, the process of hearing. If mechanically we are reading, then it will be very difficult. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is one more verse. So this is also a beautiful verse. सिद्धांत बलिया चित्ते न करह आलस यहाँ ही ते कृष्ण लागे सुदृढ़ मानस. So here is saying Siddhanta Baliya. Don't be lazy in understanding the Siddhanta, in understanding the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Na kare alas. Don't be lazy. Sometimes it happens, no, we try to study Siddhanta, especially books like Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu or books like Updesa Amrit or books like Madhurya Kadambani, where very technically spiritual science is explained. So we should not feel अरे क्या है बस chanting करो हो जाएगा like that. Yeah, it's very true that by chanting everything will happen, but in order to understand how it happens and in order to have that faith in the holy name also, we need to study properly. Otherwise, we'll become slackened in our spiritual life. And it helps a lot those devotees who have very clear understanding of Siddhanta, who are very clear about the philosophy. You will find they will have a more better practices and more better because they have very clear understanding. They know what they are doing, they know why they are doing, they know what they will get by doing this. The mind is not able to cheat them. So, Srila Jiva Goswami, he says, for a sadhaka, the spiritual platform is intellectual platform. Because for a sadhaka, our mind being impure will always try to drag us down to impurities of this world. So now as a sadhaka, if I want to situate myself on the spiritual platform, only way in conditioned stage is where I don't have higher taste as of now and I have impure mind. I don't have higher taste and I have impure mind. So at my stage, still if I want to situate myself on the spiritual plane, then that is possible only by being on the intellectual plane, by using my intelligence. So what is this intelligence? Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So this intelligence means the spiritual intelligence, means Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So when I have nicely studied the scriptures, I have nicely understood the scriptures, then that intelligence doesn't allow me to carry away by the impurities of the mind. That intelligence helps me to time and again focus on my spiritual life. That intelligence time and again help me to situate myself on the spiritual plane. And knowledge, this spiritual knowledge, has a very special relevance in the life of a sadhaka in that way. So he's saying Siddhanta Baliya Chitta na kare alas. Don't be lazy in trying to understand the scriptures. Use your intelligence. In fact, the more we read the scriptures in that sense that I want to understand the subject matter. Why Sukdev Goswami is speaking like this? And what is the relevance of this verse in my life? And what is being spoken here? then you find that that subject matter reveals more to you, because this is not a mundane sound vibration, it is a spiritual sound vibration. So when sadhaka approaches them very nicely, then the Lord, being merciful, reveals more to the sadhaka. In 10th canto, there is a verse where the Vedas personified, they are offering their prayers to Mahavishnu, and in that they are saying that, my dear Lord, so many people they approach us. Vedas personified are saying, so many people they approach us, but then as per their inclination or tendency or attitude, we reveal them accordingly. If there are people who approach the Vedas with the idea that I want to know that how one can enjoy, then Vedas will reveal only the Karma Kanda section to such people. If somebody comes with the idea of impersonalism to the scriptures, then scriptures will reveal about impersonalism. But only who with humility approaches the scriptures to become a servant of the Supreme Lord, to understand one's true identity, to actually genuinely love Lord with no other expectation. To him only the scriptures they reveal the true transcendental science of pure devotional service. Like that. So this is a live sound vibration. Same verse you give to 10 devotees. And you ask 10 devotees that Prabhu, what is the conclusion which you derive from this verse? All 10 will give different conclusions. Same verse. How that is possible? 10 devotees, 10 conclusions, same verse. Why? Because Lord reveals accordingly. And those to the extent they are more genuine, more pure in their intent, to that extent it is revealed to them. So we should not feel that, oh, why to so much bother about studying them so nicely. No, it will help to understand the subject matter very nicely. And what will happen by that? Yahite Krishna lage sudrada manas. If we nicely study the scriptures, then we'll be able to fix our mind on Krishna. See? Why? Because it will strengthen our mind, and then our mind becomes attached to Sri Krishna. So that is why it is important that how we put our nice efforts to understand the scriptures like that. Many times we see those devotees who have nice understanding, so they try to make notes, they try to study very nicely, they try to make their uh, own index, so that they can more better understand the scriptures like that. And you see, when you have a lot of clarity in terms of what is mentioned in the scriptures and you understand them very nicely, then your spiritual life becomes very easy, your spiritual practices become very easy. So one of the reasons why Srila Prabhupada kept these courses was to help devotees to deeply understand the scriptures and relish the scriptures. And that for that reason, Srila Prabhupada kept these courses, that in this way the devotees they'll be able to do so. So we find many places Srila Prabhupada also has given a lot of importance to his books. Srila Prabhupada is a very special acharya, and we hear that past time that once the reporter asked Srila Prabhupada that Swamiji, you have written so many books. So how so many books you could write? And Prabhupada says, I have not written, Krishna has written. And then there was a disciple of Prabhupada, he became confused. And reporter also became confused. So that disciple, he thought, let me explain to the reporter. So the disciple was telling to the reporter that actually Swamiji meditates, he prays. So Krishna reveals to him and then Swamiji writes. And Prabhupada says, why are you concocting? Krishna wrote these books. Like that. Same way here also, one devotee is telling to Prabhupada, the Srila Prabhupada, when we take your books to the library to talk to the professors, they become very surprised that how can one person write so many books? And Prabhupada says, I am also surprised that how I have written so many books, but to speak of them, it is all Krishna's mercy, like that. Then this is His Holiness Kadam Kanan Swami Maharaj, he writes in one article, from there I took. So Maharaj says, I would say that in our Hare Krishna movement, one of the great causes of devotees becoming dry in their spiritual practices is because they do not get absorbed in reading. See, somebody can read this again.
I would say that in our Hare Krishna movement, one of the great causes of devotees becoming dry in their spiritual practices is because they do not get absorbed in reading.
Yeah. So see, Maharaj is saying because they don't get absorbed in reading, and that's why they become dry. Actually, Shastras, they are so special. Once you get a little taste, actually whole world will not exist for you. I've seen devotees once they start relishing the scriptures, once they start going, then you get such a happiness in just knowing about the Lord, and then you repeat what you have understood. So you get such happiness that then nothing else in the world matters for you. On the other hand, if the devotees they take it casually and they do not read, then they become spiritually dry. Then Maharaj says, you see, chanting is something which we do because we are taken a vow, it's very clear. But we do not take a vow to read. We just do not make that vow, so we do not give the same importance or urgency. Reading scriptures is very important, very important, very important. If we are not reading, I guarantee everything will become stale. Stale means stagnant. Person will become dry in spiritual life. Person will feel ठीक है, चल रहा है, chanting हो गया है, प्रभु जी का क्लास है. Like that you will feel. But if you want freshness in your spiritual life, then that can happen when we regularly read. And this reading means reading not mechanically, but reading to understand, to relate, and to apply. Like that. This is another letter which Srila Prabhupada says. He is writing this to Bahurupa, 1974. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that I am pleased that you are chanting 16 rounds of daily and reading my books regularly, following 4 rules. Then he says, in my books, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is explained fully. So if there is anything which you do not understand, then simply you have to read again and again. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, I have given everything in my books. If you don't understand something, just read again and again. By reading daily, the knowledge will be revealed to you, and by this process, your spiritual life will develop. Like this. So if we read, then the knowledge will be revealed, and the by this process, spiritual life will develop. Also, like many times we talk about association with devotees. So I have seen personally that if you read Srila Prabhupada books with some devotee and then try to have discussion together, that actually helps us to have more better relationship also, and also helps us to more better understand the scriptures also. Somehow that is the beauty of the scriptures, that they reveal more in the association of devotees. So we can have some devotees with whom we can read, with whom we can discuss, and like that we can have more better relationships also, and we can understand more better also. Like that, there are so many letters where Srila Prabhupada has emphasized about reading. He's saying, I am requesting all my students to read my books very seriously, every day without fail. In this way, if your mind becomes absorbed at least 1 or 2 hours daily in the transcendental subject matter of Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita and other books, then very easily you will make advancement in your Krishna consciousness. Then very easily you can make advancement in your Krishna consciousness. There is one purport where I was reading, Prabhupada says, unless one reads these books very nicely and try to understand them, he cannot make actual advancement, like that Srila Prabhupada says. one cannot make actual advancement, like that Prabhupada says. So like that there are many places where Prabhupada also speaks. There is one place where Prabhupada says that uh, the purports which I have written are my devotional ecstasies. So devotional ecstasies means if you want to experience Bhava platform, then Srila Prabhupada has written at level of Bhava that subject matter, like that. And Srila Prabhupada in one place he says, best of me is in my books. So how much important it is to understand them and to value them and to read them. So you will get this student handbook. In that also, in the beginning, you can see there are so many quotes of Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada talks about and emphasize the study of his books. And he talks about that how all my disciples they should study nicely and then they should preach. So we'll read only one of them. Yeah, two of them we can read. One is this. Prabhupada says, I will never die. I live in my books. So one reporter asked Prabhupada, what will happen to the moment when you die? And his answer comes immediately, I will never die. You might have heard this audio also, and all the disciples they shout, Jai Prabhupada, like that. And then Prabhupada says, I live in my books. And then Prabhupada says, all my spiritual sons and daughters, they should have the title of Bhakti Vedanta. One who will pass this examination will be awarded the title of Bhakti Vedanta. I want all my sons and daughters to have this title so that the family transcendental diploma will continue through the generations. That is my program. We should not simply publish these books for reading by outsiders, but our students must well versed in all our books so that we can be prepared to defeat all the opposing parties in the matter of self-realization. Like that. So like that Prabhupada also highlighted. So what are the aims of this course? So in ISKCON, uh, the this particular course ISKCON has an examination board committee, and we have one MIHI Mayapur Institute of Higher Education. We have VIHE Vrindavan Institute of Higher Education. So these two are old and from many years they are running. And now many temples have their own bodies also to conduct these courses. So what are the aims of this Bhakti Shastri course? First is to help the students memorize and recall the essential knowledge of the Bhakti Shastras. So in the course of studies, even during your exams, you will find you would have to remember those lines of the purports or those verses which are very important aspect to remember the Shastra. So this particular study will help you to memorize and recall the essential knowledge and to deepen the students' understanding of the theology of the Bhakti Shastras, to properly understand the different aspects which are mentioned in the scriptures, and to help the students personally apply. When you will go through OBA, open book exams, so you'll find whatever you are reading and understanding, how practically it can be applied, you have to think and write. So OBAs are like that, open book exams, and CB means closed book exams. So this will help the students to understand the application aspect also, to enhance the students' desire and ability to effectively preach Krishna consciousness based on the teachings of Bhakti Shastras. One realization every devotee gets after Bhakti Shastri, he feels that Prabhuji, now I want to more deeply understand Bhagavad Gita. But then many of them are not able to continue that kind of reading. But everyone gets a realization because they get some taste that I want to deeply understand this subject matter, like that. So to help the students understand and appreciate the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada, as revealed in the writings of the Bhakti Shastra and to perpetuate that understanding within ISKCON. So, for all of us, when we read and study Prabhupada books, we are also able to understand the mood and mission of our founder Acharya very nicely. See, a person can become a devotee of the Lord, but he can become a Gaudiya Vaishnava only after reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. He cannot become a genuine Gaudiya Vaishnava without reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. One can become a Gaudiya Vaishnava, but he cannot become a true ISKCON follower without reading Prabhupada books, without reading Prabhupada purports, without understanding Prabhupada's mood and mission. So when we read the scriptures, Prabhupada's mood and mission also comes out. Then to help the students apply the principles of the Bhakti Shastra with Vaishnava integrity and appropriate consideration of time, candidate and country, like that. So we see that we are an international society. So at different places we have to do some changes. But still, how with Vaishnava integrity, devotees applies those principles at different places, that maturity we can understand. That how in different situation we can apply the teachings. Then to help the student appreciate and apply Gaudiya Vaishnava culture, etiquette, the principles of Vaishnava Sangha as imparted in the Bhakti Shastra. So the vital aspect of Vaishnava culture, vital aspect of Vaishnava dealings, the principles of Vaishnava Sangha, they also we are able to understand through these Vedic scriptures. And eighth, to help student imbibe Vaishnava qualities enunciated in the Bhakti Shastras. See, we are reading these scriptures not to fill our head with the memory, but we want to fill our heart with the experience. So, how we will fill our heart with the experience? When we learn the virtues of Vaishnava qualities, Vaishnava etiquettes, principle of humility, Vidya Vinay Sampanne, then this knowledge will be revealed. And then actually we can make spiritual progress. So, when we read these scriptures, we focus more on developing a genuine Vaishnava qualities, genuine mood of servant, genuine mood of humility. So, like that, we can do. So, there are these three aspects: knowledge, skills, and values. So, knowledge means knowledge, memory, and recall. You can learn some verses which are important ones. You will be told to remember certain important lines from the Prabhupada purports. So that is knowledge aspect. Then understanding, you try to understand the subject matter very nicely and deeply. So in the course of reading Bhagavad Gita, reading the books in the Bhakti Shastri, you will find many deep philosophical concepts will be covered. Then personal application, what we are reading, how does it apply in my life? Then preaching application, how we can speak certain principles from the scriptures which can be relevant for people in today's day and age. Then mood and mission, how and what is the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. Then Vaishnava integrity, how we apply those teachings in different situations, and we feel responsible to apply those teachings. In the many times we hear that story that when Lord Ram heard a Sudra reading the Vedas, then Lord Ram went and he killed the Sudra. So many people they quote this story and they say, what is this? Can't a Sudra read the scriptures? So why in the Vedic time Sudras were not allowed to read the scriptures? Because Sudras they have a tendency to read the scriptures, but they have a tendency to not apply. So what happens is if a person is knowing the knowledge of the scriptures but is not applying, then he sets a bad example. Just imagine there is a person who is smoking and he is quoting the verses from Bhagavad Gita. Then how you feel? You feel what nonsense. Correct, no? Because the moment somebody is reading the scriptures, then it is his responsibility to represent properly as per the scriptures. So that is Vaishnava integrity. that we are reading, then we are responsible also to apply. Then culture and etiquette. So Vaishnava culture is very sensitive, very refined culture. So we get exposed to that Vaishnava culture through Prabhupada purports, through the scriptures, and we imbibe that Vaishnava culture. Then etiquettes, Vaishnava etiquettes, and then Vaishnava qualities. For a Vaishnava, Vaishnava qualities are his ornaments. So all this, when you read the scriptures, you will come across those devotees who are very intellectual, those devotees who want to be very systematically reading, and they have that level of intellect. So what they do is, while reading Prabhupada purports and books, they will tick mark also. Like there is a paragraph which talks about mood and mission. So they will write M above that paragraph. Then there is a paragraph which talks about personal application. Then they will write PEA. Then there is a paragraph which talks about preaching application. They'll write PRA. So like that they read and they tick mark the sections in the purport as per these divisions, whether it is a mood and mission or Vaishnava integrity or culture and etiquette or Vaishnava quality or understanding or knowledge or preaching application or personal application. But anyways, it depends individual to individual. But point is, we get to know all this when we read the scriptures very nicely. So this is what is the aim of this Bhakti Shastri course. So it is a great opportunity which we have. If we would not have come in touch with devotees, we might have died without reading Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Updesamrit, or Bhagavad Gita, and like that. But fortunately, we came in association with devotees, and by mercy of Prabhupada and devotees, we have this opportunity to read and understand these scriptures very nicely. And with a genuine heart, with humility, we try to understand them to please our founder Acharya, who worked very hard, who had sleepless nights to write these scriptures. So, as a gratitude and as our desire to understand and connect to the founder Acharya, we take these books very nicely and seriously, and we try our best to understand them very nicely so that we can become more better devotees and we can also assist in preaching this message to others. Hare Krishna. So we will end here. Any questions anyone has?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Yes, Samantu.
दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी
Danut Pranam.
प्रभु जी मेरा डाउट है प्रभु जी, हमने लास्ट में एक आप बताए प्रभु जी पॉइंट की वैष्णवा इंटीग्रिटी, जैसे कि अगर हम जो चीज़ सुनते हैं उस चीज़ को हमें फॉलो करना चाहिए। लेकिन प्रभु जी हम लोग कई बार बहुत सारी ऐसे कॉन्सेप्ट भी सुनते हैं जो ऐसा है, लगता है हमें पर्सनली कि ये मेरे प्रैक्टिस के स्कोप से बाहर है। हो सकता है वो किसी फाइन एटिकेट्स के मामले में हो, या फिर ऑस्टेरिटी या फिर सेंस कंट्रोल के मामले में हो, या माइंड कंट्रोल के बारे में हो, या फिर कोई बहुत ही रिफाइंड बिहेवियर वैसे। तो ऐसा लगता है कि ये तो प्रैक्टिस करना असंभव सा लगता है। तो प्रभु जी उस केस में हमें उसको ऐसा लगता है कि हम प्रैक्टिस करेंगे तो थोड़ा आर्टिफिशियल सा लगेगा, तो फिर उसको प्रैक्टिस करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए? क्योंकि नॉलेज तो
For
है लेकिन।
example,
फॉर एग्जाम्पल प्रभु जी,
any, हाँ,
जैसे कि प्रभु जी सेंस कंट्रोल के मामले में हम देख सकते हैं, जैसे मान लीजिए कि कुछ खाना है, जैसे हमें ये नहीं खाना चाहिए, ऐसा हो गया, लेकिन वो बना है तो हम नेचुरली नॉलेज है नहीं खाना चाहिए, क्यों नहीं खाना चाहिए ये भी पता है, लेकिन हम उसको खा लेते हैं प्रभु जी, जैसे ऐसा होता है मतलब।
okay, okay. So see, in our case, naturally, we will be struggling to follow what is mentioned in the scriptures. But if we are trying to follow, but we may be struggling to follow, then that also comes under following only. But we should not think that, oh, this I should not follow only. this is not for me. No, everything what we is mentioned in the scriptures, we have to follow. Okay, but I may be struggling, I may have difficulty. Then follow whatever we can follow. And then slowly, gradually, we come to the higher level of following. Correct, Namantiwaripu?
Yes, Priji.
Yeah. So in our
Okay.
case, we try, like now we hear about humility. So we try, but then it's not easy. But we should try whatever we can try. And we should try our best to increase and make more progress. And slowly, gradually, it's the mercy of the Lord who will help us to follow these principles very nicely. But we should have a desire to follow, we should have a desire to improve, and we should be honest to struggle because we are struggling sadhaka, so we should accept ourselves as a struggling sadhaka.
Yes, Priji.
ठीक है?
Yes, Priji. Thank you, Priji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Praji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Srinivas bro.
Praji, can you just mention this point in detail, means very clearly, what should be the attitude of a person, of a devotee who is approaching Prabhupada books? Like, what are the essential qualities? Repeatedly, means somewhere, some other quality. Like, just in these are the essential qualities for reading Prabhupada books when approaching.
Yeah, first thing is, as I was saying also, that we should feel a lot of gratitude for Prabhupada because he worked so hard. We hear that pastime, no, where Prabhupada was awake for 3 to 4 hours, but then only 3 4 lines he had spoken. So the devotee who got the recorder, he asked Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, today you wrote only 3 4 lines, but you were awake for 3 to 4 hours. Prabhupada says that I was thinking which word should I write, and for that I had to pray to the Lord, meditate, and it took me so much time. So can you imagine how much time the founder Acharya gave? So we should have that gratitude first, that Srila Prabhupada worked so hard, and for whom he worked hard? For us. And second is we should have humility, that I have been suffering from so long, and I don't know what is my true self-interest, and whatever I tried, whatever I did in the material world, it entangled me more and more. But now it is a great mercy, great compassion of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada that I am getting this opportunity to get transcendental knowledge, which will help me to understand my true self-interest, which will help me to understand Krishna's nature and to connect to the Lord. So we should have gratitude, we should have humility, and then we should have sincerity, that now whatever sincerity I can have, that sincerity we should have to understand these scriptures very nicely, to see what Krishna is wanting to say. And then fourth is genuinely applying whatever we can, genuinely trying to apply the teachings and the message of these scriptures. And then fifth is, naturally, when you are trying to apply and understand them nicely, then you should share with others. That is how the knowledge is preserved, and that is how you reciprocate with the knowledge by sharing with others. Is it okay, Srinivas bro?
Yes, Praji, yes, Praji. Praji, one final question. Praji, we are talking at the last key about Lord Ram's pastime of that. Then I got a question key. There is a section of people called bards, right?
Yeah.
Harish, Brahmins and bards. So this section of people, bards are always there in Vedic culture, right?
Yeah, bards are there in the Vedic culture,
And I remember you.
but they are kept out of the society, and they come and they glorify or they speak the glories of the person, like king or so, and then they are told to go out. They are not given much respect in the society.
Like they're Shudras only, right? Or no, no specific section of people.
Yeah, they can be in the category of Sudras. Your question is that they also read Vedas, right?
Yes, they also read Vedas. They don't follow. That's why they are
Yeah.
called bards, whereas Brahmins read and follow.
Right. Actually, the Vedas, what we are referring to in terms of what Sudra was reading, they are like core Vedas, Rig Veda, Ajurved, Samved, Atharved, main this thing. What bards they do is they have or they read those parts of the Vedas or those parts where they talk about some qualities because they want money, so they go place to glorify people. So they read only those aspects or those parts of the scriptures, and then they go and sing and they get money and then they go back like that.
Understood.
Okay. Okay, so thank you very much, all devotees, for taking out time and coming. And also, it will be nice if all of you can keep your videos on during this Bhakti Shastri course. That will help you to be more attentive, and that will help the speaker also to see and feel more encouraged to speak. And I wish that the Lord blesses all of you so that all of you can nicely study the Bhakti Shastri books written by Srila Prabhupada and feel more appreciation for Prabhupada, feel more gratitude for Prabhupada, and also may it help in your spiritual life and in your spiritual commitment. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.